The market yet again last week pushed to all-time highs on the back of three major news stories. Stay tuned as we cover what those news stories were, as well as recap what happened in the markets last week.
As Matt mentioned, the U.S. markets continue to make all-time highs, and last week the NASDAQ led the way, up just under 1% and is now up over 31% for the year. And the S&P was right behind, up about 0.75%, and the S&P 500 is up over 26% now for the year. Foreign markets were up about 0.25% last week and are now up over 17% for the year. But the big story was out of emerging markets, as those emerging markets were up 2% for the week and now up 12% year to date. We want to take a look at two separate charts today, and first will be the NASDAQ, because I just mentioned the NASDAQ is up over 30% for the year and is leading the US markets. And second, we want to take a look at the emerging markets chart, because that's a more interesting chart because the emerging markets are at a very important level. First, we're looking at a chart of the NASDAQ. I wanted to take a look at a chart of the NASDAQ because it's the index that has been leading the US markets all year. And as you can see here at the blue line, in October the NASDAQ broke out above that key level and has continued to make all-time highs ever since. And as I said at the beginning, the NASDAQ is now up over 31% for the year. I want to take a little bit more time here and look at the second chart, which is the emerging markets. And especially after such a strong week last week, we're seeing the emerging markets come up to a very important resistance level, right around 1150, and that's the level that we saw hit towards the beginning of this year. Now, depending on what happens with some of the news going on with the emerging markets, we could see a continuation and a bounce up above that blue line, and we could see strong performance out of the emerging markets for the rest of the year. Now, with that being said, as the U.S. markets continue to make all-time highs, the emerging markets still lags as they're about 10% or more away from their all-time highs still.
On Friday, the US and China announced that they've come to an agreement in principle for a Phase 1 trade deal. Now, it is not signed yet, but both sides are hoping to have things wrapped up within the next 5 weeks. Now, there's some key points that were leaked from both sides, but were not confirmed. And those are tariff delays and rollbacks, China agrees in principle to buy more agricultural products, full transparency on currency issues, and lastly, the possible prevention of intellectual property theft. Now, it's also worth noting that President Trump said that this deal is not yet signed and has the chance to still fall through. But he's also hoping to start a Phase 2 trade negotiation immediately. The second big news story from last week that helped push the markets higher was that the Fed had their last meeting of the year. And they said that they're looking to keep rates right where they're at, and also cited that low inflation would help keep rates low throughout 2020, and they do not expect any increases or decreases over the next year. And lastly, a general election was held in the UK last week, and Boris Johnson won the Prime Minister spot. Boris Johnson ran on a quick and speedy Brexit, which, if you've been watching our videos over the past couple years, is an oxymoron. But Boris said that they're going to be starting the constitutional process of Brexit before Christmas, and that everything that they've agreed upon with the European Union will be included in the deal.
As we approach the end of the year, a lot of the major news stories are over. But one of the things that we're going to keep an eye on is the progress between the US and China, as that progress with the trade deal could move the markets one way or the other.
Thanks for watching, and please follow us on Facebook, and also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.